France, 1789. A year of chaos, a year of change. The air was thick with tension, and the streets buzzed with the whispers of revolution. The old ways were being questioned, and the winds of change were blowing stronger than ever. The French Revolution erupts, a raging fire against injustice. It was a time when the common people rose up, fueled by a desire for a better life, for freedom from the chains of oppression. The battles were fierce, and the stakes were high. The monarchy, decadent and out of touch, faces the wrath of the people. King Louis XVI and his court, ensconced in the opulence of Versailles, were blind to the suffering of the masses. Their disconnect would be their downfall. The Bastille falls, a symbol of oppression crumbles. The storming of the Bastille was not just a physical act of rebellion, but a powerful statement against tyranny. It marked the beginning of a new era. Blood stains the streets of Paris. The revolution was not without its horrors. The streets ran red as the people fought for their rights, for their very survival. It was a time of great sacrifice and immense courage. This wasn't just about bread, though hunger bit deep. This was about dignity, about equality. The people were not just fighting for food, but for a voice, for recognition, for a place in society where they were seen and heard. The cry for liberté, égalité, fraternité echoes through the ages. These words became the anthem of the revolution, a rallying cry that united the people in their quest for a fair and just society. But behind the grand narrative, secrets hide. In the shadows, plans were made, alliances were forged, and betrayals were plotted. The revolution was as much about intrigue as it was about ideals. Untold stories whisper of different paths, of possibilities lost. There were many who dreamed of different outcomes, who saw other ways forward. Their voices, though often unheard, were part of the complex tapestry of the revolution. Could this revolution, this tide of violence and change, have been prevented? Historians debate whether the revolution was an inevitable result of centuries of misrule, or if there were moments when a different choice could have altered the course of history. Or was it inevitable, a storm brewing for centuries, finally unleashed? The discontent had been simmering for generations, and perhaps the revolution was the only way for the people to reclaim their power and their dignity. Let us delve into the heart of the French Revolution, uncover its hidden truths, and contemplate the might have beens. By examining the events, the people, and the decisions that shaped this tumultuous time, we can gain a deeper understanding of the forces that drive change and the price of freedom. History remembers the storming of the Bastille. But what about the women who marched on Versailles, demanding bread and the king's return to Paris? These women, fierce and forgotten, embody the revolution's untamed spirit. Consider the National Assembly's tennis court oath, a pivotal moment often overshadowed. Locked out of their meeting hall, these representatives swore not to disband until France had a constitution. A bold move, a defiant stand for representation. And what of the king's attempted escape? Louis XVI, disguised as a commoner, almost reached the border. His capture exposed the monarchy's vulnerability, fueled the flames of suspicion. These untold stories add nuance, revealing the revolution's complexity. France, though glorious, was a land of stark contrasts. The grandeur of its palaces and the squalor of its villages painted a picture of a nation divided. Extravagance in the Palace of Versailles was unmatched. The opulence of the Hall of Mirrors, the meticulously manicured gardens, and the lavish banquets were a stark reminder of the wealth concentrated in the hands of a few. Meanwhile, grinding poverty in the villages was the harsh reality for the majority. Peasants toiled endlessly in the fields, their homes crumbling, their lives a daily struggle for survival. The first and second estates, comprising the clergy and nobility, enjoyed privilege and exemption from taxes. They lived in luxury, their wealth and status shielding them from the hardships faced by the common people. The burden fell heavily on the Third Estate, the common people. They were the backbone of the nation, yet they bore the brunt of taxation, their meager earnings further diminished by the state's insatiable demands. Years of costly wars and lavish spending drained the treasury. The coffers of France, once brimming with wealth, were now empty, a testament to the reckless financial policies of the monarchy. The American Revolution, a fight for liberty across the ocean, ironically contributed to France's financial woes. The support provided to the American colonies in their quest for independence came at a steep price, further straining the already depleted treasury. Bad harvests added fuel to the fire, leading to soaring bread prices. The staple food of the French people became a luxury they could scarcely afford, exacerbating the already dire situation. Hunger gnawed at the bellies of the poor. Resentment simmered. The sight of emaciated peasants and desperate families begging for food became all too common, a poignant symbol of the nation's deepening crisis. Enlightenment ideals, whispers of liberty and individual rights, fanned the flames. Philosophers and thinkers challenged the status quo, their writings and discussions spreading revolutionary ideas. The social contract, once a binding force, was now seen as broken. The stage was set for revolution. The discontent that had been brewing for years was about to erupt, and the storming of the Bastille would become the symbol of a nation's fight for freedom and equality. Section 4. Faces of Fury, from bread riots to Bastille's fall. The streets of Paris were filled with the cries of the hungry and the desperate. Bread, the staple of life, had become a symbol of the people's suffering. The price of bread had skyrocketed, and the common folk could no longer afford it. This led to widespread riots, as people took to the streets demanding relief from their plight. The revolution had many faces. It was not just a movement of the elite or the intellectuals. It was a movement of the people. From the urban poor to the rural peasants, everyone had a stake in the fight for a better future. Ordinary men and women, driven by desperation and hunger, became the backbone of the revolution. They were the ones who bore the brunt of the economic hardships and the injustices of the old regime. Their suffering and their anger fueled the fires of rebellion. Thinkers and writers, fueled by Enlightenment ideals, provided the intellectual foundation for the revolution. Philosophers like Voltaire, Rousseau, and Montesquieu challenged the status quo and inspired a generation to dream of a society based on reason, equality, and justice. Revolutionaries like Robespierre, Danton, and Marat, their words igniting the masses, became the leaders of this movement. They articulated the grievances of the people and called for radical change. Their speeches and writings galvanized the public and set the stage for the dramatic events that would follow. The storming of the Bastille on July 14, 1789, became a symbol of the people's power. The Bastille, a fortress and prison, was seen as a symbol of the tyranny of the monarchy. Its fall marked the beginning of the end for the old regime. The fortress, a symbol of royal authority, fell, and with it, the illusion of the invincibility of the monarchy. The people had shown that they could challenge and overthrow the established order. This act of defiance sent shockwaves across France and Europe. It inspired other oppressed peoples to rise up against their rulers and demand their rights. The revolution in France became a beacon of hope for those seeking freedom and justice. The Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen, a beacon of hope, proclaimed liberty, equality, and popular sovereignty. It laid the groundwork for a new society where the rights of the individual were recognized and protected. But the path to change was bloody. The revolution led to years of conflict and turmoil. The old order did not fall easily, and the new order struggled to establish itself. The Reign of Terror, a period of extreme violence, saw thousands perish under the guillotine. It was a time of fear and suspicion, where anyone could be accused of being an enemy of the revolution and face execution. The revolution, which had begun with such high ideals, descended into chaos and bloodshed. Section 5. A Dance with Destiny. Could the revolution be halted? Could this revolution, this tide of blood and fury, have been averted? Perhaps. Imagine a king, not oblivious, but attuned to the people's suffering. Imagine timely reforms, addressing the inequalities that festered. Fiscal responsibility, a radical concept. Had the monarchy curbed its lavish spending, the financial crisis might have been averted. A more representative government, granting the Third Estate a voice, could have quelled the rising discontent. But the past is fixed, the revolution a whirlwind that reshaped France. The question lingers. Could compromise and understanding have rewritten history, preventing the bloodshed and chaos? Section 6. Echoes of the Guillotine. The Revolution's Legacy. The French Revolution, a period of immense upheaval, left an indelible mark on France and the world. The ideals of liberty, equality, and fraternity resonated far beyond French borders. The revolution shattered the old order, challenging the absolute power of monarchs. It ignited a spark for democracy and human rights, inspiring movements for change across the globe. Yet, the revolution's legacy is complex. It serves as a reminder of both the power and the peril of radical change. The French Revolution, a story of triumph and tragedy, continues to fascinate, inspire, and caution us, even centuries later.